There's kind of like two key technologies which are helping us do that. So one of them is gigabit bandwidth, where we're seeing a very definite shift now towards using gigabit bandwidth networks in factories. And this is helping to deal with the so-called kind of explosion of data, you could call it. And that's basically been driven by Industry 4.0 and so on. The other key point is convergence, which is being enabled by time-sensitive networking, which is another key technology, TSN as we call it. And convergence is important because it's now allowing us to combine different kinds of network traffic together on a single network architecture. So how in the past you would have had maybe like separate networks for I/O, safety, motion, and so on. We can now combine all these together onto a single architecture. But also now we can take things like standard Ethernet traffic with TCP/IP and so on, and we can also add that onto the same architecture too. So really, this is now delivering a number of benefits to machine builders and other system builders. And so, first of all, this means that there's less engineering required to build the system, because with a simpler network architecture, it means that it's easier to create simpler machine designs. Of course, that also means that the cost is reduced. So therefore, the simpler design also means that there's a faster time to market. And then finally, when the machines are up and running, maintenance is also simplified. So those are kind of like the initial benefits of technologies like TSN. But then it kind of moves on to a second stage where we can achieve increased transparency. And as Christian was saying, there's a tremendous amount of data now being generated by these processors and these machines. And this data is, in some respects, is kind of like hiding how to optimize the machine. So by having a converged network, it makes it easier to get the data out of the machine and up to systems that may be running AI or whatever to analyze this data and generate actionable insights that can then be fed back into the process and therefore optimize it. And so really the final result of all this is increased productivity. In the end, we all represent some pretty cool technology here, but in the end, the user doesn't really care so much about what the technology is, that they want to know how it's going to address their business benefits. So in the end, maybe I'm talking about time-sensitive networking, but the end user is saying, well, how does it help me bake an extra 1,000 loaves of bread per hour or something? And really, that's what it's all about in the end. How are we using this to deliver those business benefits?